Welcome to Invested Souls, the podcast where real estate expertise meets relationship growth.
And we're your hosts, the Flanagans. I'm Brad.
And I'm Jamie. This podcast is your chance to learn from our experiences and follow in our footsteps. Whether you're an entrepreneur, investor, or real estate professional, we've got the insights and strategies to help you elevate your wealth and achieve financial freedom.
But it's not just all about real estate. We believe that thriving in life means nurturing the relationships that matter most.
That's right. We'll be talking about how to balance your personal and professional life so you can create a fulfilling and prosperous future.
So join us on Invested Souls and let's grow together in wealth, relationships, and success.
Ready to elevate your life? Let's get started. Welcome to Invested Souls. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Invested Souls. I'm Jamie Flanagan, your host, and today I have Kellie Revoir on the show, and she's out of Springfield, Missouri. Super excited because we are like sister states coming from Nebraska. A lot of our clients and agents obviously visit Branson, and it's one of our top road trip spots, of course. So excited to dig in and talk to you about the market. And so you run a team, you work with investors, and just give me an overview of what your careers look like.
Okay, thank you so much for letting me come on. I'm really excited. I think this is going to be great. So, to answer your question, my business now looks completely different than it did when I very first started in real estate. I got started in 2013 and I was a solo agent, jumped on to work with my mother, and the two of us just worked together for a few years before we started building a team. And now it's been 10 years in on building a team. And it's been great. So this last year was a little down for us in 2023, but 2024 has been a great year so far. Prior to that, we averaged about 300 transactions a year, and we had a team of 15 agents on our team. So it's not quite there this year. I think most teams do feel that stretch, but it's definitely looking up.
Yeah, this has definitely been a unique market. I think I've noticed personally is like the sellers, I'm working with new clients that are being referred to me. And the clients, when I sit at the kitchen table with people, they appreciate that I showed up. And that is such a flip from before is like I don't know. This is just when COVID happened. It's like agents are overpaid and anyone can sell a house, you put a sign in the yard. But right now I'm noticing like the confidence is they need to have the trust in you, and like they're appreciative of the work that you're doing because they are seeing the price reductions and they're seeing stuff sit on the market longer, and they're just asking, do you think you can actually sell my house? And instilling that confidence. And by the way, our market's still great. Yeah. So I think it's headlines that are getting in their head because I'm like, no, it's like as long as we price it, you're going to be golden. But what are you seeing in your market as far as that goes, like the changes just this year?
The biggest struggle, going back to even what you just said, is managing expectations, because I think sellers still think that it's a market where they're in charge, and buyers are now realizing that the switch is flipping and buyers have a lot more power than they did over the last couple of years. So the biggest hurdle that we have is just managing sellers' expectations. I just had a call earlier today, and the house is probably worth about 300,000. Gentleman thinks it's worth 330,000. So I had to have that conversation with him and say, it's not 2022 era. We've got to become more realistic. And that's the hardest part. And it takes a pretty strong person with a strong personality to manage those expectations, because it's very easy for a seller just to say, nope, this is what we're going to list it for. And then you go back and forth. Do I list it for that? Do I tell them I don't want it? And what do I do in that situation? And there have been times where I've listed a house too high and just continue to give my weekly updates. And eventually we get to the price that we need to in order to get it sold.
Yeah, it is hard. And I find that's really fascinating is the sales data feels very skewed lately, because you'll have somebody who is very anxious to get their home sold, and I feel like they will take the low offer, and then you'll have somebody else who staged their home and everything was good, and it's the comps, it's almost like you can have two houses in the same neighborhood and pretty identical, and I'm noticing like this comp A is 285 and comp B is like 310, and you're like, gosh, this is weird data, because usually before us, okay, the last three sales are 285, 290, 292. And let's list at 289 or 290 and stage your house and do the things. But the data it is a weird market.
It is. And I send out updates every week to all of my sellers, which is very important. And last year, June of last year, the inventory was about 2 months, and now we're at about 4.5 months of June this year. It's a big
Wow.
difference. It's a
In
big
your
difference.
market, do you have seasonality? I feel like summer would be probably a pretty popular time to buy and sell.
It is, but August is typically our slowest month of the year just because that's when everybody's getting ready for school and finishing up family vacations and getting ready for football practices and all that stuff. So
Yeah,
it does slow down quite a bit. My first year in real estate, I was like, why are we so slow? But it's just every year we're slow in August. It'll pick back up after Labor Day,
nice. We pick up, I've noticed my business picks up a lot in August, but it's because we go back to, when do you guys go back to school?
like the second week of August.
Yeah, so we do too. And I notice like I don't see a pickup in sales until after ever. I'm like, no, but it's like almost like the stay-at-home parents have time. So like a house
Yes,
is online.
exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, September is like when I feel like I get busy again.
Yep, that's pretty much exactly the same for us.
That's
But in
pretty
terms of swings, the East Coast, West Coast, South, they really have a lot of swings when the ups and the downs with the market. Arizona's a big one too. Luckily, we don't have the swings to that effect being in the Midwest. We do have a little bit of a down market, a little bit of an up market, but not to the tune of a lot of the other states. And I always like to say those are my crystal ball. When we always say that we don't have a crystal ball, I do. I just look at California, I look down south and what's going on right now in the
Mhm.
Miami area, and that's my crystal ball. I know it'll hit me in about 6 months, whatever's happening out there.
So true. It is neat. So we have investment properties in Omaha, in Colorado, and then Arizona. So I'm licensed in those three states. But what's interesting, like right now, like Omaha, you're still getting like full price for your home as
Mhm.
long as you price
Yeah.
it right. Maybe more days on the market. But in Arizona, it's like the number one market for price reductions. And so I'm like reaching out to my clients who have had interest in a vacation home. I'm like, this is the time to capitalize on, if you have an investment property there, you could sell it and buy here at a trade off. You actually get to sell and still a seller's market in Omaha, and you can buy in a buyer's market in Phoenix. It's a total win.
Yeah. That's great
Yeah.
advice.
So same with Branson. It sounds like you can take advantage of those. And I do have several people who have asked about buying investment properties in Branson. So I'll have to send this episode to them. Get them in touch with you and your team.
Yes. Yeah, I would love it. Yeah, we're still pretty close. You might be able to get your closing costs covered, but we're still pretty close to full price here.
Yeah.
Maybe $5,000 off plus closing costs, but it's not like it was before.
Right. Are you seeing like cash flow opportunities? We work with a lot of investors who look for like more of the tax benefits. So we tend to coach agents who are like, I don't want to pay the IRS. But so I'm curious, like in your market, do you see at least where you could break even on a property, or do you see like negative cash flow or positive cash flow on if somebody were to look for an investment property there?
Short-term rentals are struggling, I think, across the United States right
I
now.
agree.
So
Yes.
we're feeling it here too. Branson's big with the short-term rental market. So it's not as profitable as it was, but you can still run a profit. The hardest thing there is just trying to find the right property manager. A lot of the investment properties that are down there have kind of a built-in property manager, so you don't really get a choice. And then about 2 years ago, when the STR market went crazy, the counties down there started really tightening up. So now you got to be grandfathered in depending on the county. So there's definitely been some rules and regulations that have made it a little bit more challenging out there, but there is still investment opportunity. I work a lot up in the Springfield market with long term, so you can still find long term rental properties here. I've actually got some I've been thinking about putting into midterm, which I know midterm rentals are great.
We
I've
love
not
our
ever
midterms.
yeah, I've not dealt with them here in Springfield yet. So I've got two that when they come open, I'm probably going to turn them into midterm and see
Heck,
how that goes. Then you and I will have to chat
there's
again
no
when I.
turning back. Just kidding.
That's what I've heard.
I'm like, I don't know if I tell people about this or not.
I know, I understand.
No, that'll be great. Yeah, we are actually launching. We're me and my husband. So this, I'm super excited about it because we've been coaching agents on the background, but we're doing. It's called the Educated Landlord, and we're doing like basically it's super inexpensive, but we're doing it for $59 a month, and we're going to do little mini master classes. So we'll have one like on short term rental. We'll have one on midterm rental, and then it'll be implementable like stuff. Our midterm lease, obviously, you'll want to have your local attorney review it, but everything like all that is in there. So we're pretty excited to launch it. Our goal is for agents not to pay taxes.
We pay too many.
We
We pay
pay
too
too many
many.
taxes. Yes, we
Mhm.
do. And I'm like, Brad and I, we own a lot of rentals. So we pay a ton of property taxes, a
Mhm.
ton. And It's just nice to be able to offset the income taxes when you're a successful agent. And obviously, you've got rental properties and you're very familiar with the investing world. So I love that. So, so you're a team leader, you've been in the business for
Mhm.
15 years. What would be some advice, like as somebody who's navigating, I just got a license. I think in the last year, things have really changed. And so, what advice would you give like a brand new agent who's looking for some direction?
So, if you are a brand new agent and you're struggling, I think the biggest advice that I would give you is just to make sure that you're getting your name out there, network. And I know it is a little bit of a longer play, but it is the most solid play for more of a permanent profession. If you just, and listen, I'm a team leader, so we buy a lot of leads. You can create an entire business off of that, but you're constantly going to be chasing business.
Mm-hmm.
And it is very challenging to do that. So if you could get a mix of some, that's great. Most brand new agents don't come in with a pocket full of money.
Right.
So you're going to have to go out there. You're going to have to join just in your groups. If you go to church, start attending church functions, going to a BNI group. If you have BNI type groups or those weekly groups that meet, your local Rotary Club, anything to get you in front of people, that's really the best way to have a sustainable business. And then just following up with them. But don't ask them if they know of anybody wanting to buy or sell. Just have a conversation
Be
with them.
authentic. Yeah.
Yes, because it sounds so salesy. I see it all the time, even on social media. Social media is another great one. I get a lot of business from social media, but people will say, just put a sign in the yard. If you know of somebody that's wanting to buy or sell, have them give me a call. And I just think that's so inauthentic. So
Yeah. I
be authentic to you.
It's so, and I think I'm leaning into this a lot more lately. I've always had like very real conversations with my clients, and I feel like that's why I've done really well. But I've got contractor relationships, and I am very like I want to help you sell your house. Like at the end of the day,
Mhm.
nobody wins if your house is sitting on the market. So me giving you bad advice if it's overpricing it, et cetera. Like you said earlier, it's all price it there, but let's have a plan. I'm going to keep you updated every week, and then we're going to make adjustments as we need to. And I'm going to be transparent. I'm not going to hide that information from you. But it's like that authenticity when you're sitting with your clients, it speaks volumes, and they trust you because they know that it's like you're real
Yes.
versus showing up and being like, here, I don't even have a listing appointment. I'm sure you don't, or a listing presentation. I show them, I'm like, here's what I did. Here's some other
Mhm.
listings and here's how the success and proving what you do. But I love that. I agree. I follow a couple of people online right now, and everyone is really like leaning back into the 20 conversations a day. Like
Yeah.
everyone I follow, it's like we really need to go back to the basics. Real estate doesn't need to be overcomplicated. We need to have 20 real conversations a day, and
Yeah.
we will crush
Yes,
it.
you will, because so many people are afraid to have conversations nowadays. And so if you just go in and go back to the basics, which you never really should have gotten away from in the beginning
Right.
or in the first place, but go back to the basics and just have conversations with people and let them know. And if you think about if you do not want to go back to a Monday through Friday 8 to 5 job, then you better be out there hustling Monday through Friday 8 to 5, because what a lot of real estate agents do is they might make 1 hour worth of phone calls and then go to the lake for the rest of the day.
Mm-hmm.
And you will never have a sustainable business if you do that. You need to either be learning, you need to be out there prospecting, you need to be out there following up. You've got to do all of that stuff. You need to create a calendar to show you how to do that so you have a plan every day and you're not waking up spending the first hour scrolling social media and trying to figure out who you're going to call. You need to
Right.
have a good CRM set up with the tasks in there so that these are the people that I need to call today and my day is not over until I get this and this done.
Love that. I 100% agree.
It
Time
seems so
management is
easy,
very
but
important.
it's so hard to
It
do.
is hard to do. And I'm like, okay, if you worked for somebody else, you would, like you said, you'd have to show up to work these hours. And the fact that we slack and we're like, okay, I don't feel like working today. That wouldn't be an option if you were working for somebody else. And we should really work harder for ourselves than we would for somebody else because
Yeah.
it's like massive dividends. So I agree. What would be like, what's your favorite podcast or book or resource that you lean on as an agent?
Oh, boy, that's a great question. Thank you for that. So there is The Miracle Morning for Real Estate Agents, I think is a fantastic book. The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy just reminds you of
Yes.
just these small little chunks of time every day that compound into something big. So those are great books too. And then The Shift by Gary Keller's a good one because it's what we're all experiencing right now.
Yes, the shift. We were actually on an interview I had earlier. We were talking about the millionaire real estate agent, and I'm like, It's like those two books, Millionaire Real Estate Agent and The Shift, like total read them.
Yes, read them.
They're gold mines.
Definitely.
They are gold mines. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, I love that. Okay, how would people go about getting a hold of you as far as like wanting to work with you as hiring you as their agent or joining your team as an agent?
They can find me all over social media. It's just my handler everywhere is at Kellie Revoir, which is KellieRevoir. That's the quickest way to find me. You can send me a DM, and my telephone number is there too. It's pretty public. So you can send me a text message too. I respond to everything. So,
Good. You sound like me.
yeah.
Then DM me. We can talk on email. You can text me.
Yeah,
Um,
just don't send me a Snapchat because those go away and then I forget about them.
Yeah, I don't know
And
anything. We just had to relog. My son was like, "Can I please get Snapchat?" And I was like, actually his iPad is next to me ringing, and I realized it was on. So I apologize. I'm like, my phone's on, do not disturb. What's happening? But he wanted Snapchat to stay in touch with this. Like he's only 10, and I was like, no. And then he's like, Mom, you could do a parent account. I was like, okay, so I have Snapchat, but I never log in. So then we had to redo. I had to create a whole new profile. So now I have a profile just to manage his profile.
So when my kids were younger, I didn't know they had a parent profile, but I don't remember exactly when I allowed them to have Snapchat, but I do know that I friended all of their friends on Snapchat because they have stories and they forget that I'm friends with them, and now they're 16, 17 years old. So I get to see what's going on in these stories. It's
Ah,
actually, yeah, if
that's
you start that
genius.
now, then years later you still keep up on them.
There, that was the golden nugget of the whole show. Nothing to do with real estate. Everything
Call
to
me
do
for
with
more parenting advice. I've got
yes.
two teenage boys, and trust me, I've got stories for days.
Oh my gosh, I have a teenage daughter and a 10-year-old, and the hard thing is they're 6 years apart. So teenage daughter likes to tell 10-year-old very. I'm like, really?
Oh.
He was not that was appropriate. That she knows it's not appropriate. She just thinks it's funny.
Yeah,
And
sure.
then I'm like, now I have to deal with this because then he asks me what things mean later. And I love him to death. Like he's so cute because he'll actually come to me and ask me questions. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't want to talk about this. I have no idea what to say right now. Husband, I need you to handle this conversation.
They're so fun.
No, no. So, okay. So how old are your kids now?
They're 16 and 17. My 17-year-old
Nice.
will be 18 here in just about 3 weeks.
Oh
So
my
a
gosh.
little
He's going to
nervous for
college?
that one for sure. No, neither one of them. I can't get them to go to college. But
Yeah.
my 18-year-old will be a senior, so I'm going to have a junior and a senior. And it happens so fast. It happens overnight for sure.
So fast. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Anything else that you would like horror story, anything fun there's probably endless because you've been in the business a long time like I have. But what's one story that you're like, oh, I'll never forget that? Or biggest
Oh gosh,
lesson?
I have so many. Working with a lot of investors, I've definitely seen some pretty nasty, raunchy houses where I've slipped on a lot of bug guts. Those get to be pretty nasty. I had a deal where I was working with a mom who was getting ready to go to a nursing home. We got two offers on her house and she died the night before. So that was awful. Had her house had to go through probate and it ended
Oh,
up it was just terrible. So have an estate plan, or anybody listening in here,
yes.
have an estate plan set up, especially coming to taxes. Your specialty is trying to avoid taxes. You need to have an estate plan set up because she didn't and it was a nightmare. Yeah, that anything I think having to deal with aging parents or yeah, that are dying or just
Yeah.
passed. The hardest thing that I continue to see over and over are the people that do not have an estate plan set up and their children are trying to deal with it while trying to grieve, while trying to plan a funeral. And it's just probably the saddest thing that I've seen is
Yeah.
them struggle through that.
I 100% agree. We're working through like redoing all of our legal stuff just because we
Mhm.
have multiple properties but it's like I will say I really wish we would have planned sooner because we bought properties not knowing that we would get to the point that we are. And
Mhm.
now it's gosh, we grew this portfolio and now having to organize like would we potentially sell this? Would it come out of this state? What would go in this? Like it's I
Yeah.
will say it's complicated. And it would have probably been when you don't know what you don't know, right? We
Yep.
didn't at the time we didn't know we were going to acquire additional properties. But yeah, that's the top 10 like top advice is planning your estate because you just never
Yeah.
know. There's nobody has a crystal ball for that.
I know. And as real estate agents, all of us should be buying property because we have a golden ticket to expertise and knowledge that people would just love to have access to. And we have access to it. So I hope everybody listening to this, if you don't even have rental property, start with your first one. Just buy one a
Yes.
year. But
Yes.
you've got to start. Do not, that's how, if you ever want out of the real estate game, you need to start buying property for yourself and not just helping other people do it. Because if you
Yep.
don't do that and you don't work those relationships, you're going to be doing this until we're 70 years old, and none of us want to work at this job that
Right.
hard, that long.
100%. No, we don't.
No.
It's a hard job. I love my clients, and I love being able to sit, like now be able to say no when I don't feel like a client's a good fit.
Yeah.
That's a massive thing in your career, and rental portfolios really help with being able to do that. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you, Kelly. I appreciate I think I asked you, but do you have a website or I'll make sure it's in the show notes. Actually, a podcast company. We'll make sure it's in the show notes, but what is your preferred method of getting in touch, or where could people find more information about you? Website?
Website's still in the process of being built right now, actually, but Instagram's really going to be the best way to get a hold of me.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you so much for coming on the show today. This was awesome conversation. Look forward to staying in touch.
Yeah, you too. Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to Invested Souls.
We hope you found our insights valuable and feel inspired to elevate your real estate and relationship goals.
If you enjoyed the episode, please subscribe, rate, and leave us a review. Your feedback means a lot to us.
Follow us on social media for more tips and updates, or visit bradandjamieflanagan.com. And to find out more about our Real Estate Wealth Accelerator, don't hesitate to reach out.
Until next time, keep investing in your future and nurturing your relationships. Thanks for listening to Invested Souls.